So here we're going to put the bearing into the spin top. It's a little bit fiddly, but basically I just took some tweezers and tried to get all of the bearings about equally spaced. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just kind of wiggle the cage into position and it should snap. Next step is to put the rails on. There's a little cutout in this one so you can get access to that screw hole. So that's where it goes. I ended up updating this part, and there's two little fingers that get mounted vertically to the same assembly that keep the dome traveling vertically up and down when you're raising and lowering it. Again, number 4 3/8 screws. Now take 3 more screws and mount the spinning base to the top of the dome into the bearing. Once all the screws are in, you can see we have a spinning dome lid. This all has to come apart so I can paint it. There's a little clicking here that I'm going to clean up before I assemble it for the final time. The lifter arms for the servo get little mini bearings put in them, like so. There's a lot of torque on this servo gear, so make sure you put some number 2 screws in and also glue it so it stays on or it'll fall off. So up here I put the 2 servos mounted to the rotating base and added the adapter to mount this whole assembly to the dome. So all standard screw sizes and mounting techniques are used, and you can see the addition of those 2 fingers I was talking about earlier. Alright, so just bring the dome in and kind of coax it around these fingers. And you might want to lift it up a little bit to give it clearance. There we go. So the dome has 7 fingers. The dome has 7 fingers and 7 mounting spots. There's one missing here because the servo that opens the panels is located there. So make sure you're not pinching your wires. And you take 7 number 4 3/8 wood screws and just mount it in. And again, be careful not to drill holes by accident by having a misaligned parts. And we want these snug with no play in them. All right, so now we're ready for the LED bucket. This gets also mounted with the number 4 screws. And as you can see, I've previously installed the LED in here. And for some reason, I've got all the screws already. I don't want to spill them. So just, there's a slot here that lines up with the back of the servo. That's where the servo gets mounted or gets captured. Sometimes it'd be nice to have 3 hands. Let's see, I don't really want that there. And it's a tight fit, but coax that servo into that slot. All right, so it looks like everything's in working order. It's time to put the Meister on it and see that it goes up and down. So I put tape on all of the plastic surfaces that we're going to have the decals on them so they wouldn't be marred up by the paint. So I took everything apart, painted it, put the radar eye on with its attached electronics, mounted all the servos, mounted the head rails to the head. In case you're interested, that's the dimensions of the decal necessary to mount in the detail. And that's what it looks like when it's all done. Pretty cool. The electronics mount simply screws onto the base of the servo bucket. You can see all the wires right now are pretty chaotic, but that's solved with a few zip ties and careful planning, or uncareful planning. Then you can mount the base to the dome. It was designed to put in captured nuts, but I ended up just screwing it in directly to the plastic. It seemed to be pretty much secure. Last step would be to add magnets and some screws, M310 screws to the pegs. And there we have it, a completed Arduo dome. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Arduo fun.